happiness and success, family. This video is for anyone out there who kind of has an overactive mind, if you will, someone who finds himself obsessively thinking about what they have, what they don't have, and so on and so forth. And this video is definitely for you. So there are a whole host of things you can do to calm yourself down, to detach, and that's, one of the primary methods of doing so is to ground yourself, to experience the now, to feel where you are now, truly appreciate whatever is happening in amongst you at this present moment in time. Calm your thoughts. Deep breathing, meditative and mindfulness strategies are absolutely essential for reducing the overreactive brain and utilizing obsessive thinking. And you know what, a lot of people get carried away with creating all kinds of different patterns in their lives, like feedback loops between their thoughts, creating emotions and chemicals within their brain, which leads to certain actions, which over time creates experiences that over time lead to beliefs that create moods and attitudes that influence our temperament, our personality traits, and ultimately our identity, and things that we associate with being, oh, it's just the way I am, right? But it doesn't need to be the case, especially if you're suffering in one way or another, and regardless of the severity of how much affliction you are that's being induced right now. Like, it doesn't need to be that case. It doesn't need to be that way. And so there are so many things that I wanted to address, but one of the main things I want to address is to teach you guys that, when we run patterns in our mind, say for example, you wake up and on a regular basis you keep thinking about some person or some experience that was really traumatic or difficult, or that didn't make you feel loved, didn't make you feel significant, didn't make you feel strong or successful or happy, or whatever emotion you wanted to be feeling. And say if you memorize that on a consistent basis for many, many days on end, what will happen is you'll begin to program that image. Essentially, a belief is constructed by words and from images in our minds, okay? Can be made up visual stimuli, or also like things that have actually happened that you still remember, okay? So say if this person continuously thinks of a certain event or certain person or a certain interaction in their minds, and it harms them and it bothers them and it makes them think negative thoughts and therefore breed negative emotions and therefore behave in negative ways, whether it be getting involved in like all kinds of negative addictions, or whether it be inactivity and laziness and being lethargic and depressed. So it could lead to crazy activity that's negative to one's health, or negative to others and harmful to others, or it can be the complete opposite of being completely inactive, in losing one's energy, their vitality, their energy force, and succumbing to that saddening, melancholic experience that can sometimes take over when someone keeps repeating negative experiences in their mind, right? And the interesting thing is, if you do this a certain amount of times, at certain times in the day, whether it be when you're driving or when you're at work, or when you're at the gym or whatever it might be, when you create and begin that cycle, if you will, that pattern, what happens is over time you don't even need the original stimuli. What will tend to happen is that thoughts alone will take over, because 90% of our thoughts are the same as the previous day, right? Why is that? Because most of the things we do every single day are very much the same. We drink from the same mug, we brush our teeth the same way, the same time, and so on and so forth. We eat the similar kinds of foods, maybe. We interact and talk with the same kinds of people. We travel to the same destinations. We speak in the same ways, with the same register. We watch the same kind of TV shows, the same kind of movies, and so on and so forth. And the problem is that because our thoughts are often so similar on a daily basis, we'll tend to create those thoughts and therefore begin that pattern habitually, even if we haven't thought of the once negative emotion. So essentially what I'm saying is that people often over time will find ways of just releasing certain patterns, because it's what we're used to, right? Our subconscious programs. So that negative experience that happened in that person's past, for example, that doesn't even have to play a role in it. Say if that person got over that person or that experience and so on and so forth, and then later down the line, months, years later, for example, they're still creating those same patterns. It could be because sometimes these patterns are just created through thought alone, not even through remembering and collecting experiences and so on and so forth. And the person might have changed in the past, but they're creating and attracting the same kind of external world, maybe the same kind of people, the same kind of situations, and so on and so forth. And that can be extremely painful for us. It can be really arduous, because we feel as though we're not changing in our lives. If a past event or certain patterns keep repeating, then essentially you're not going to be the same person, because you're going to have the same thoughts, the same emotions, the same behaviors, the same habits on a regular basis, and therefore you won't be moving towards or taking new actions or challenging and stepping outside of your comfort zone and these sort of things. So I hope you gleaned a lot from this video. If you did and you want to know more, get my book, The Art of Power, Happiness and Success. You can get it at Amazon. You can also get it at my store at www.alexgemstore.com. Have a great day, look after yourself and stay strong.